All right, you ready, bitch?
I'm ready. Are
Okay,
you ready?
I'm ready, bitch.
Sound like it to me.
Let's go.
Don't sound like it to me. By the way, I'm Matthew here. I didn't
We
forget my
didn't
name this
start.
time.
Just wait till I press the start
Oh,
button.
okay.
Okay. Good afternoon. Michael here, and with me,
Matthew.
I love the enthusiasm.
I
Like,
am
you know what?
enthusiastic. What do
They
you expect
so
me to do? Jump up and down and
motivated.
be like, "Ee."
Look, I know I've been like a crackhead these past couple of minutes, but like, you know what? Now I am so like psyched. Thank you. I'm just so happy to be here now. Like, you give such light and energy into my world. Thanks.
Oh, I appreciate it. I know I do.
All right. The topic of today, self-love. There's obviously not enough love going between us. So, self-love.
Not enough love going between us. Yes. Self love is a difficult topic.
It is.
Actually, it's an easy topic. It sounds easy. It sounds easy, but it's actually very difficult.
Well, what are some difficulties and struggles that you find with self-love?
Oh, there's actually okay. I've been it's something I've been reflecting on. I'm trying to think about this for a minute because um I think with like to me it's a balancing thing. It's like there's something part of me that wants to so it's like like you got things you got to have for yourself, but there's
Mm-hmm.
also a balance where like you also there's a balance where you want to also at least for me within me,
Mm-hmm.
I do actually want to like give energy and things to other people even when I don't have it sometimes. Or like or
I think
even
it depends
just
who you're trying to give it to.
yeah, so you kind of give that's true. It can be like that.
If you're just giving that willy-nilly, no, that's foolish.
Yeah.
Like,
So
there are certain sacrifices that are meant to be. Maybe they do take more from you, but
yeah.
like, who is that?
Yes. And it's like and Gigi like I used to like I would have the struggle where like you like this is where like this is where I've had to like learn in the past like who I'm giving like energy to because like it's like yes I like giving out you know good energy to people like whether it's helping people or whatever
Yep.
but at
Even
the end
just
of the day not everybody's willing to give that back and not that it's required it shouldn't
no.
be because you're supposed to do that for yourself anyway
Yes.
but the problem is when it starts when you like there's something inside that that wants to feel like you're owed that thing as well
Hmm.
but at the same when like so it can be depressing and feel like you're not loved in that
Mm-hmm.
moment when actually the reality like in my like way I look at well that's a difficulty reality now we can talk about like
Well, it's hard to break that like narrative in your head. Um, like everything's like subjective and outward based.
mm-hmm
You're always seeking or looking for external validation, whether it's to your friends, loved ones, or even like in academics, like for the professor or whoever, like who are you trying to impress? Whose attention are you trying to get while sacrificing your sanity, your mental health, your own life force for what?
yes and it's for what and then also it's like and it's okay to have the thing is I think that there's a breakdown that can happen is like that can develop between like needs and versus wants and things like that that can start getting confused with emotions too and it's like sometimes sometimes like you can think that you might need something from other people
Mm-hmm.
which is actually like there's a difference like when you actually might need something that you need if they can provide yourself but you can it's okay to still have wants and desires but you still need to fulfill yourself that way it doesn't really matter anything with the one desire it's like matters less I think that's like the biggest hardest thing to kind of it can be easy and like to get confused and get trapped in a cycle of like needing something like from an external source
Yes.
or like love for example or whatever
Mhm.
but actually love in general in just a lot of things it could be like your needs it could just be your eating habits it could be like whether you're taking good care of your physical health, or
Yes.
things like that. So that's how like I'm kind of, and sometimes like I have in the past, just you can where like in the past, like earlier, like say in my 20s, I would just have issues where like I would start to put other people on a pedestal around me, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, now they need to be taken. Now I feel like if I'm not giving them my time, then if it's almost like it's like a way. It's like you almost need. It feels like you're giving them your time, and then you're not
Limited
giving
resource.
yourself time,
Yes.
and then it feels like
Who are you?
if you don't. But also part of you is like, because that's you identify, like I would identify with giving people my time. Now,
Now the relationship's based off of like, uh, big energy sucker over here. Or
yes,
big,
so it's based around time, and then so when then it feels like you can't pull back, because it feels like if you pull back, something inside me says, if I pull back,
they're gonna stop loving you. They're gonna leave you. They're gonna, yes.
they're gonna disappear. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my biggest. I think that's kind of like a big. And there's also some deeper ones which might be like more self-limiting beliefs I've had to like work over in the
Mm-hmm.
past. But I think, and it's some of that's still like part of me, but I still have to like keep them in check. But it's just that I work on, and it's like I think it's just because of just like lack of that. But anyway, that would be more of a self-limiting belief. But yeah, I'm talking about mine. Do you have any yourself that do you find difficulty struggling with, or anything yourself when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to that?
Tough love.
Or like any examples, maybe in the
I
past or
remember it
anything?
at least in the beginning. Like I feel better about it now, but I remember in the beginning confusing arrogance with appreciating your actual talents and skills and who you are as a
Mm.
and what you offer to the world and those.
Mm.
So like not having enough even self-respect to be like, or to at least objectively be like, no, these are things I'm good and competent at. Like I'm worth it, or like I'm a valuable, or have something, and or oh, even physical appearance sometimes. Like I guess just to go that low or whatever, like self-love just for your body alone, and for like it's all the hard work that it does, and um appreciating, I guess, the physical nature of yourself. I struggle with that one because like I feel disconnected from my body, so I'm often like um I have to be like I'm always reminded, but through pain and suffering of like, damn, why do I feel like shit? Or but then it's like, okay, no. Let me focus on taking care of me instead of like the million other tasks I've set for myself of like, okay, this person needs this and I can get that done and I can run around there and like have I even eaten? Have I gone to the bathroom? I
Mm.
probably need water right now. Like
Yes.
something like
I
basic.
think, yeah, like you mentioned something at the beginning of it that was quite interesting. I thought was, what was it? The very first thing you mentioned. I'm trying to remember what it was. There was a good. There was. I actually had something. I wish I would have, because there was something you mentioned right at the beginning of your story. There.
Mm,
Arrogance.
yes.
I think that's also another one that's like I have to be reminded of sometimes, because you start when you try to develop it, because sometimes it can turn into arrogance,
Hmm.
like inflating yourself almost too high, where like
Yes.
it's like it's
A little humility, like just a little.
yes. I mean, I don't know, like that could be like if you, I
No,
don't know.
but
And
like
at the end of the day, who's the judge?
over.
If that's self love to you, then okay. But there's gonna be other there may be other fact things that may not that may not work in your favor in that. But it's like,
Just simple appreciation for you as a human being and
mhm,
individual,
yeah,
and like respect for the human condition that we're all flawed
yes,
at the end of the day, and that's okay.
yes.
Yeah.
I think the arrogance where it affects like my own self, like if it goes up, it's like not even about others. Like when something does like actually challenge that arrogance, then that
Mm,
then you get pulled down, and it's almost like I feel like then it actually causes more negative emotions beyond that.
it does. So like
So
so
it may pull
unhealthy.
me back into an unhealthy like belief system that I may have that's still passing apart or something, even.
Yes.
Or like it's like because like also you're not even reminded of something bad because like you put yourself. I mean, it's good to like put yourself first,
Mhm.
but because at the end of the day, it's like no one else is going to choose you but you.
And you can't run away from you either. So
Yeah,
helps you.
I mean, some people might make the option, but it's still at the end of the day, still got themselves to choose too. But
Exactly.
um,
You're only as limited as you think you
mhm,
are.
yes, and but yes, so that was like the more of the so yeah,
Yeah,
um,
and I kind of threw that example in there because it's something I've struggled with, but it's
mhm,
also like our like one of our terms of like the paradoxes of love and self-love, like
yes,
um what's that? Like devotion to what's that? Like what's that? Like it can be difficult to differentiate like or at least from outside, like whenever you're taking care of yourself, does that mean you're not loving the other person or whatever? I think because we were trying to get on this sort of like paradoxes of love and stuff, and so it's like, and then again, that's still outside subjective. So again, that's why we're talking about the attachment styles. So like, an anxious person might look at the what's that? The avoidant who's like going off trying to recollect, recompose, or whatever. It's like they don't love me or whatever. No, 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 no. It's not that necessarily. Like just because they're actually like love is not as simple. What's that? As actions or like just simple actions of like distance for a second.
right, right, yeah, and
Like they're just practicing a little self care, a little self love. Like, okay, now it's time to process, come back, so I can be like best self for, or like give it my all.
yeah, and like yeah, and yeah, the best self. I don't know, like I have a like in the like I think well yeah, there's like some different like things I kind of do as well as like far as like I know with like the like when we was talking about arrogance a bit earlier. I think the way actually I've kind of been expressed there's a meditative prayer I've kind of used for that one that I actually
Mm-hmm.
really like. It's like you can use it for a lot of things, but for a lot of different purposes. But it's one that I really like. It's the Ho'oponopono prayer, and it's like you can use it for yourself.
What is it?
It's called Ho'oponopono. It's an Hawaiian prayer. Yes,
Oh,
it's 4 praises, and you can use it on yourself. You can pick it, and you can use like, and I like it because I can use like any topic that I'm doing. Like I can like whatever it is that I need to.
can we have an example?
Yes. So I'm trying to think of one. Like, let's say there's like a limiting belief or something I have or something
Hmm.
sometimes, or like, or maybe I'm not giving myself self love enough of it. And so that it's 4 praises. It's like I remember, like you can do it in any order, but the one I like is like, I'm, s- I'm, s- I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And
To
you say
yourself?
what you do it to yourself. And it's like you can do it. You can do it with others, but I think it's best for me. It works better for myself because like I think sometimes that's the person that is yourself
Yes.
sometimes.
They say
So
your worst enemy is you.
and
So.
sometimes like either if sometimes like I'll be out like I'll be on the walk if like I'm having
Mhm.
a struggle with some thoughts, and it's like I'll try to imagine looking myself in the mirror or something and there's something at me at my own self, and I'm like trying to say that to me or whatever because it's like it helps me kind of put me in the person. It's
Yeah.
like, and it's weird because after a while I start to get like it may not know at first, but like if we start feeling into the words, it's like it starts to release a lot of like like negative energy in me. I've noticed. I like it because it's like that. It's like if you're forgiving, you're asking for forgiveness. And it's like there's some I do for like limited beliefs. So like one of mine is sometimes about being like you know
Curious. Do you say it out loud or do you say it in your head?
you can say in your head. For me, I think it depends. Like
I'd rather,
mm-hmm.
or like I know for me at least, out loud. It's speaking it into existence. Therefore, it is.
I think it's like I think the main yes. A lot of times, especially if you can't, it's hard to feel it internally first, speak it out, and then once you get that down, your body will remember what it feels like, and then you can probably do it based on the feeling of it and then visualizing. But I think the main thing is that because like so like I would be like let's say like you know it's like I mean, whatever the desire, and you just say I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, and you keep
Talk
doing
to
it over.
yourself like you're another
Yes,
person, but like you're looking at you.
yes. Like
How would
if
you
they're
say it
that
to your best friend who was broken down or and
And also,
whatever.
when you can do that for yourself, sometimes it's like you can even do it like you can use it for other things too. But I think it's just like that one's like,
How weird was it though at first doing it to yourself? Did
um,
it feel awkward or like kind of?
it can be, but it's actually when you're to yourself. I feel like it's less because I think like well, you can give yourself permission. It's like you're gonna, but I think also there's a trick. Like I actually think if it's triggering something, there's sometimes things trigger within me
Hmm.
like a repulsion to it, and I actually have to sit back and ask why sometimes because I've learned that sometimes the repulsion and I think about it is actually like I feel like it's actually a trauma response to like
Hmm.
maybe something I did not get before or I'm not
Yeah.
allowed to have this thing, so therefore I
Mhm.
don't want it.
Yes. Trying to limit needs so it's like I don't have to feel dissatisfaction, disappointment, all these other negative emotions because if I don't need it, therefore it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Even though you might secretly or like subconsciously and internally
Yes.
want it.
And sometimes it doesn't have to be like it could be other things. Like maybe like if like another reason I like it is like you can like let's say like maybe you're just unaware of like how you present like your awareness of around how you affect other people and that's okay. But you say you're playing sorry to yourself because you're it's also it's a prayer too. So it's like you're playing you can pray it to God or whatever as well. It's just like so
Mhm.
like for like I'm sorry like I don't understand maybe I'm confused maybe I don't know but it's like it's still the release it's still just asking for forgiveness as well. It's just like
Saying
have
it
you
out
learned releasing
loud.
that like how it's like maybe like you came across or you did something that you may have hurt someone unintentionally but you don't know why and it's
Mm,
like and it's bothering you but that's another time I think it's really powerful to get in that to try to start releasing stuff because
that's
like you
good.
may not actually know why and
Well,
it's
that
like
gets
that's
like
maybe
self-forgiveness too, and like self-love, self-forgiveness. I feel like some of that is synonymous, but like, yeah,
yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. So actually, it's one I learned about it because it's actually kind of it's technically like a inner child healing prayer, like to try to like get you back to your inner child. It's like something about that, it's like releasing like ways of like things of just it's I don't know.
Here,
There's more
at
about
least
that. It's interesting.
at least one
Go.
more time for the audience. Can you like say the prayer again? That way, but a little slower, but like that way, in case they want to write it down or practice it themselves. So, how
Yes.
would you do it?
And you can do it in any order that you prepare. There's no right or wrong order which you say the phrase. It's whatever works to you. Whatever evokes the best emotion, like the emotion that works for you. I think
Hmm.
emotion is the best thing. Like because if you actually
Yeah.
do that, then it's actually kind
Yeah.
of working. Because if that means you're something inside you acknowledging this thing. But so let's see. It's I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And you say, can you just keep repeating it? I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And
That's
another
so
thing about that
sweet.
particular one is that like sometimes you may not know what you should be sorry for. You don't have to know.
Ooh. I exactly.
But I noticed when I started doing it, your mind will start telling you automatically. You'll start
Hmm.
to think of things. You may think of something in the past that may need to be forgiven that you didn't.
Exactly.
Because
And there's
forgive,
always subconscious stuff floating around in the background, so
yes, whether it's like maybe some fight you had with someone 20 years ago, but maybe you still bothered by it. Like maybe that'd be part of a healing thing that needs to release as
mm.
well. Or maybe it's
And you're
like
taking care of yourself too. Because like maybe you can't do anything for the other person, but this isn't about loving the other person. This is about loving you regardless of your
yes.
human flaws.
And think about
And
it. Like let's say you're in yeah. I think about let's say you're in a relationship with someone. Like even if maybe you don't maybe you have a hard time, maybe that person is not good at being receptive towards like apologies and things like that. You know, do it. Just you're doing it to yourself. But like, what's that doing? It's releasing energy in you. That way you don't have to hold the resentment at least.
exactly.
And so that can
Bring
sometimes
the
be
energy
enough. That could be sometimes be enough to even get to trigger something subconsciously with other people. So
back.
I think as
Speaking of
well.
other people, let's talk about the importance of like self-love, like how showing love for or like actually loving and taking care of yourself affects how people perceive you. But I at least know for me, whenever I started doing that, and yes, I have this like or this bitchy and kind of sassy side of me, but I don't always show that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like sometimes being a little bitchy, taking or like fighting some battles and not being pushed around by people and standing up for myself, that empowers and builds my confidence in me and faith and trust in myself to like at the end of the day I've got my back still. And isn't that horrible? Like whenever you completely disown yourself, like healing and coming back from like, oh my gosh, I've disowned myself. Like that's horrible. But like once you finally build that up within you, other people notice that and like isn't I can't remember all of them, but it's like confidence is one major player in
Yes.
attraction. And
It
in a
is.
law of attraction, you attract what you put out. So if you want more strong, competent, caring people, gotta be that within yourself in order to
Yes.
get it.
Do that within. Yes. Exactly. Like. Um. Yeah. That one. I think. It's like. Think about this. So. Sorry, I was like, actually, like, this one. There was there was a technical thing where I was getting like a slight feedback for a second. So, bear with me for a minute while I was getting that while the software was working that out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so how it proceeds. It's like it's hard to see it because like sometimes like especially if you're like used to like playing the other people first, like you don't. It's hard to see why that might actually work.
Yes, like
But
once you start realizing the crap that you were dealing with and allowed into your life versus the quality that you have in your current life. Why? Because you give a damn about yourself. And oh, that's another good point. Okay, because you give a damn about yourself, it's not all on the shoulders of somebody else, like a codependent
Right.
relationship, to feed into your self-worth, your self-confidence, your internal, like how you, oh, you know what I mean. But
Yes.
yeah, it's not all on them. So now they have all that freed up energy and space to just love you for you. Give
Yes.
extra time, extra effort. Why? Because it's not in keeping your self-esteem or anything else intact. Why? Because that never works out. It either gets too much or the other person's never satisfied by
Yes.
it. So no sense in
Yes.
wasting your time and breath.
Yeah, and it allows you, and it's also when you do you take care of yourself. It is like whatever it is, like you feel it's your own hobby, or maybe it's a thing that you like to do, or building up some, or just even just making sure you're like all your needs are taken care of, even just like things that you find fun or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That also like
Do
guess
what
what
you
that like,
love.
guess what that also does. It like that gives you something to actually share with other people as well, like your day
Exactly.
or how it went and things like that in a different way without needing something.
Well, and
So
that's
it's
your
like
God-given talent or your innate abilities, and those are special. It's not about talking about the weather now. We're talking about like what's that? Or let's just say like this. Like I like doing a podcast or whatever. For like that's or like speaking out on these subjects. That's something that fuels and drives me. Well, we got a conversation about that, not like, oh, how was your day? Went to the office. Was that it? Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's like
basically, I work my 9 to 5. Well, okay. I mean, yeah, we all have that, but like, or don't, either one. But where am I going with this thought? I had it there too. It's like squirrel brain. Pew. Um, help me.
I don't know. So it's like I don't know. Maybe figure out a way to tie it in self love here. It's like,
No, what did I last say?
okay.
Like, I need to trigger
Well,
that
we'll talk about 9 to 5 and how we all have it, and
back a little more.
then then about small talk. Then instead of having small talk to do, like say with like
Oh,
oh
yeah,
work on
more
yeah.
like adding more depth and enjoy. Like people would rather hear you talk about, or even if they don't, but that's your enemy. But your friends and those who love you want to hear about your passions, what excites you, what
Yes,
gets you up in the morning and motivates you to exist.
yes,
And at the end of the day,
and like so, and they don't have to be the same things. Some people just like people have different things, and that's what it's interesting. Sometimes it's like you have your own, your friends have their own thing, and they share, and you can talk about the
you don't even have
experience.
to have a clue. Just
Yes,
hear them out, like listen to
yes,
them and be like, I have no, you can even be like, I have no clue what you just said, but I'm happy you're happy and proud of
yes,
you. Keep it up. Like,
yes,
it doesn't
yes.
have to be that difficult.
Yeah, and like that you could, And I think like going back to like the self love, like, and I'm trying to work. So I'm trying to think.
I'm loving
So,
this candle, by the way.
oh, that's see there's a self love of nice fragrance. Here we go.
Exactly. I needed light, warmth in my place. And
Yeah,
I thought, you know what? It's a little extra money, but that's fine. I'm gonna spend it on me. Why? Because it makes me feel happy. It like
yeah.
adds a nice light, something not so straining, and just smells good.
Good
Makes a
things
day.
that make you happy. Um,
Not saying that, what is it? Buy your happiness,
no,
but like a
there's
little
reason.
take care of yourself.
Yeah, like maybe if you're like going broke to do it, I don't
That's
know.
that's not self care and self love. Like that's
That's well, that in my opinion, it's not self love and care, but I don't know, like
well, then that's buying your happiness and buying your worth and stuff. Like
yes, but I mean, I don't know, but if it like to be honest, like this is where I don't like I'm not going to judge like if
I
it's
wouldn't
something
judge
that it
you.
is because like maybe that is and that's maybe that is the fulfillment to you and your happiness, but
If it's within your means, I
yes,
think
it
that's
means yes,
better.
yeah, like it's
If it's
I
out of
think
your means, it's time to find some other alternative because you
eh,
hurting because you inflicted that. Okay, that's not very self-loving. And sometimes, oh, that's another thing. Sometimes being sometimes you have to parent yourself. It's not always nice. Like you know what, like your parents whenever they like, all right, you're on a timeout or you can't or like don't stop spending or whatever. Sometimes you gotta parent yourself. And that's also
yes,
self-love. Taking care like even if you didn't have that as a child, like all right, now we got to do our homework, whether that's like you're going to college or school or like trying to add some extra certificate or like, hey,
I
you
like
know this
that
sucks, we got to do it. So
parenting yourself, yeah, that's
exactly.
and that and that's like sometimes just like that is sometimes I think sometimes it's like there's like that sometimes is taking your head and just be like, okay, you know what? I know you want to do this, but the real love
I
is
love
to
you so
like
much. So
actually
I'm
do
gonna
as
take
actually
care
this
of
other
you.
thing. And sometimes you won't feel like you have to like there'll be times like you have to drag yourself. You may have to drag yourself through emotions, but that's where like I think things like
And it's not easy. God
yeah,
damn.
that's where like self talk and
It is. Exactly. And like I just said it out now, like a limiting belief. That's not easy. It's only as easy as
every find like what kind of works for them because like I I
exactly. Find
have
what
to do
works for
all
you.
different things. Like for me, like I do I've had to learn to try to feel my emotions as well
Hmm.
because I've always found that when I can feel them and I can work through those emotions like let them be the
Hmm.
it feels like shit like I resist it a lot because it feels scary to do it because you don't want to because it's like one of those things where you don't want to face the demons about it or what's wrong with it
Or
but like
what's
if you
wrong with
do
you?
or what's wrong with you what
Like
or a
ego.
situation or maybe it's oh yeah that's actually very true you say that because like a lot of it's like something that's wrong with you but you're afraid to defeat like you have this idea maybe it's something else or some other thing
But
but
that's
you're
a good
afraid
thing
to
about trying
fight
to fix yourself.
yes
Now you can fix it. You don't have to worry or wait on anybody.
you get to choose yourself and you get to
Yes,
be the one it sounds fucked up. Like it's a scary thought
it is.
um
It's not easy and it hurts. It's painful.
I think it like for me it's really hard because like again I think when I was trying to narrow it down like and this is again another separate topic with the one of my I think my top when I was trying to narrow down like some of my self I I would like there's some ones that some things I was be able to affirm easier out of but there was
Hmm.
still one or two that like keep like coming
Resistance.
up and I
Ah,
think it's because it's just it's one that because something hasn't proven to me otherwise and it's
ah.
like and it
But
was
it's
like
your job to prove yourself
you have to prove
otherwise.
yourself and this is where it's like you take control it's like oh
Yes.
you take control, and this is it's a word I
Most
used to
people
use.
control.
Actually, it's actually a word I think I used a lot here today. Was I've always had like because my limiting book was like the biggest one was like being chosen,
Ah,
not feeling chosen, never
yeah.
feeling chosen.
And you won't feel
You won't
chosen.
feel chosen
You won't be chosen.
because
Like,
you
yeah.
won't be chosen. So like the end of the day, it's like the only person who's going to choose you is you. And
I
if you
remember that.
challenge that, sometimes even that's the trouble, because like if you haven't been choosing yourself, you almost don't believe it sometimes too.
Exactly.
And so, like,
The
and
worst
you don't know
part,
why
you're
you don't
you,
believe
then
it.
somebody's gonna choose you
You
then
don't know
because
why you
you're
don't
the
believe it. It's like, yeah, you don't know why you don't believe it. You
no.
don't know why you don't believe. Like you said, like there's resistance. You'll feel the resistance. Like, but there's different ways to work around that. I've had to like work with different affirmations on that one.
Exactly. And this is all predicated on like what you know of yourself and what you're willing to
Yes.
do and learn about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And not saying it's gonna be easy, not saying it's not gonna be painful or difficult. That's what do they say in therapy? Therapy is not fun. It's like, oh, what is it? It's like whenever, like sometimes whenever you break a bone or whatever, sometimes they gotta re-break it so they can put it back together.
Right.
Ooh, the thought of
Yes.
that.
I had
Ooh.
to like that was one of those ones like some like it's like when I was doing like affirmations stuff, that was like for that like sometimes you can just say I am. That one I had a hard time just declaring I am. I had to go back
Ooh.
and start questioning. Let's like what if I am?
And see, okay, let's start there then. What are some things that you can practice to start saying, or for self-love? I am. I am worthy of love. I am competent in my ability.
Yes.
I add value to this world. I add value to my relationships. I am enough,
Mm-hmm.
even when I don't
There's
feel
one.
enough.
Yes, I am worthy and deserving. I
Yeah.
am. I got another one. But it's
And
hard.
a
That
lot
was a
of people
hard one
don't
as
believe that.
well.
You have to
That was a
believe.
hard one. That
Which
one's a
one?
hard one. The worthy and deserving is also known. That was a hard one for
That was
me.
very difficult for me. I remember that
But
one.
that's the one other one I had to do. What if I am
What
worthy
if?
and this? Because then actually it's weird because something about it tricks my mind and I start to feel an emotion behind
Ooh,
it. It's like if you can't feel an emotion behind something, like you're saying, because something subconsciously means you don't believe it.
right.
So then you start to question, but what
What
if?
if?
And then maybe then you might
I
start to
don't
think about times where maybe you actually have been, say, chosen, but you choose not to realize
And that's what
it.
I wanted to like go in with like DBT, so dialectical behavioral therapy. So like that self-talk, but like it's challenging your thought process. So like that's good. I like the what if you're questioning like is it though? Like what if
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm wrong? Like willing to feign ignorance
Yes.
here. Like
So like whichever one it is, so like if it's love, if it's like acceptance, which sometimes
Mhm.
is chosen, but anyway, acceptance. What's the,
But
there's
you
there's many
accept
other
yourself
ones.
for who you are.
Yes.
That's a big one. That's like I'm human, I'm flawed, I've got these issues, but also I accept that I'm this, but also I accept all the awesome, amazing, good parts about me
Yes.
and the light that I bring to this world.
Like
So,
yeah, you're like, you know what? What if I am the love of my life? What if this? What
you
if
know
I
what? I'm
am?
gonna run off and marry him.
Yes, exactly. I don't know that one. Like that one still bothers me sometimes, but it probably shouldn't. It's just like I think that it was like I don't want to get too egotistical here, but
No,
like
and again, arrogance, egotistical, like none of that.
yeah,
Like,
none of that. So like I don't know if it is. I think it only is if like you realize. I think it is like one of those things. Like it's nice to have a confidence, but it's like you can do it with confidence, but it's like you can still have desires. Like I think you still can have desires, but you still got to take care of yourself. So
no,
it's like you can still want to be loved by others, but you still got to love yourself first.
yes,
And it's like and you can you can still but that lets you choose to love others without needing them to love you back, and then they can choose and if they're in a place they can choose if they want to.
well, and just to hit a few more before, so we can, or before we wrap this up, but like, being comfortable being alone, setting boundaries, learn. Oh, and my favorite, learning and loving saying the word no.
Oh, and
Why?
boundaries, yes.
Exactly, but not even just boundary. Like,
Mm,
well, it is a boundary, but like, no, it like, what's that? At the end of the day, nobody owes, or like, what's that? You don't owe anybody anything.
yes.
Realistically speaking, even if you come at it like a nihilistic thought of we're all gonna die or whatever. Well, that's a true fact. So like at the end of the day, you don't owe anybody
Yes.
anything. That's not so, okay. The world might say one thing, but what you tell yourself about that is a whole another thing. You
Yeah.
can say no. What happens afterwards is different and be willing to accept the consequence, but like self love enough to protect yourself and say no. Okay, now I don't give a fuck like what happens. Like I stood my ground. I'm proud of myself. I love myself. Thank you for taking care of me. And let's move on. Why?
Yeah.
Because I'm a boss ass bitch. Bitch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Mm.
And the last one, what was that? Complimenting yourself and forgiving yourself.
Mm-hmm. I think that one now that goes in with the. I think
And
yeah, the
accepting
complimenting one.
from others
Yes.
too.
Yes. Well, because like if you do that, when you do that,
Hmm.
um, because that means you can recognize stuff within you,
Exactly.
and
Like
that way
sometimes,
when you do it, that when you do finally meet the love, that you might find that way if like let's say you do meet the love of your life outside, you're
hmm,
able to also
accept.
yeah, accept the difference. But the thing is, it's a journey. This is why like I think many people need to work on it because not like it's challenged because it but it also lets you know that that's what you also require as well as the other person as well. They need
Mhm.
to be able to.
And my favorite, like I have two favorites that I do. Why? Because they always make me laugh. And it's not because I don't believe them, but it's so like what? And so like my the first one with because I have to like compliment my brain. It's like, damn, I'm smart, or like, damn, that's an awesome idea, or whatever. Like I can
I love
chuckle with
that.
fun, but it's like, and like something for a physical one, and it's just to be silly, but like it adds a bit of something like, damn, I got a nice ass, or like just
Some of
or
those things. So I think some of those things I still like even to work on myself because like I don't think I haven't thought to really compliment myself on like things like that particular thing. Like I get excited about things and I do them, but I never thought about doing the complimenting thing part of that. But I think that something I might need to implement too. I think it'd actually be a good idea.
it's fun. Like add a bit of humor and add a bit of
Mm.
enjoyment with it. It's okay to
I
laugh.
and I think one thing going back to when you talk about the parent though, like if you
Oh
have,
yeah.
I one thing I love that because I think that's one thing that I have started to do naturally. I don't know where it came from. Like I didn't do it for a while. I start to look at myself and I'm like, if I like having a bad day, let's say like I just like being clumsy one day, I start to like talk to myself like a kid. Like it's like hell, it's like hey, like you're just like you're just being silly. You're just being like it's just it's like be kind of be easy on yourself. You can joke around about it or whatever. You don't have to get
Yes.
take it out on other people. You just kind of be gentle about it and just like forgive yourself about it. But you can do like you don't necessarily have to do like the prayer to forgive yourself. Like you might, unless you really need to get that then first. But just do. But yes, but no, like sometimes just joking around is like enough to release some good energy and just like let yourself to like
And be gentle with yourself.
yes,
Like you're deserving of love, and like as sweet and as loving as you want to be with somebody else, do that to yourself.
yes,
It
and I
goes on
think
anyway.
like because like the world is like there's so many masks and things you have to wear around people or
The
in
word for like math,
society,
business,
and
and
like the
everything.
thing is, um, I think the true love where it feels like you. I don't know. I think like love is really like or like the true love for me like in my eyes like is when I'm able to just when the kid that was in me within like from the early spar is able to come back out. Like I think that's part of the healing. But I saw this I think some other time
Mhm.
where I don't remember. I don't know if it was a reel or something, but I saw where it was like a lot of like there's all these like masks and stuff you wear through the side, but a lot of the healing is actually being able to rip them off and go start work your way back to being that kid again that you was
Yes,
like
but you
you
didn't
know
get the chance to be.
you had to learn how to play a certain role in
Yeah,
society,
but that's not
but
you.
it's not you. It's to be able to pull the layers back and start to be the person you came into this earth
To
initially
be.
to
Yes,
be, or like what it was, the fun,
your
free
divine purpose.
flowing. It's like it's like well, it's like maybe it's hard to have that fun, or maybe I don't know, I feel dead or whatever, and people do, and it happens. But it's like somewhere you find a layer and you just kind of work on it.
Start
And it's like
small. Work
yes,
your way up.
yes, but like the inner because I think that's one thing. Whenever I realized, I remember like one time there was I know. The last thing on point, I was like, well, I think the one last thing that I was thinking about was like when I thought about making a list, like I remember like I'm gonna bring that Joe Dispenza guy in again when I talk about
Mhm.
he was the one that told like when you fall in like if you're searching for the love of your life or like whoever you want to be or whoever you want in your life, write down a list of the people of the traits you want in that person and then become that person.
Yes.
And when I wrote down a list, and essentially pretty much what I think I figured out. If I go back, I don't remember the list. I was trying to find it for the longest time, but I remember the essential idea. If I go back to the points, I think I was really calling back to being a kid again.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I just want to be
Hair band.
silly. I don't want to be. I want to have like just have a good time. I don't want to take things too serious. I just want to have a fun time with people, and
Yeah.
and like yeah. So I think that was and be accepted for that, and like I want to accept other people in a way that they can do that too.
Yes.
It's like that's how I see it. Yeah, that's my I'll leave my point at that. That's kind of where I was like want to leave mine at, but yes.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, to at least wrap this up, thank you so much, Matthew. As always, or like every other YouTube channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Not so much for our benefit, but like at least reaching other people and different perspective, and eventually want to grow this community. Also, we're trying to still in the process of like adding on people or like interviewing people for different topics and different subjects just to add extra dialogue and discourse. So it'll be fun. In the comment section, if you have any other methods that work for you, that at least that helped you like practice or like become more aware of yourself or like or more in tune with self-love for yourself, please post it in the comment section because there's somebody out there that probably needs your wisdom or because they probably are similar
Good
to you
call.
or not. Like it's whether you think it's invaluable or like whether you think it's valuable or not, it is invaluable because you have no clue the grant or like how far you can actually affect somebody. So
Yes.
just putting good, kind words for somebody to hopefully read and relate to and understand. That's all anybody could ask for. So thank you so much.
Yep. I don't know.
You have anything else, Matthew?
Nope. Nothing else from here. So and I'm good here. Yeah.
All right.
So,
Bye.
bye.